Hello, gorgeous besties. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Rachel, and I'm very excited for today's video. I'm going to be talking about all of my June reading plans. So today's TBR is just going to be slightly different. In the month of May, I did stick to my TBR a little bit, but the mood reading did take over, which is great. We love that. But I'm having this like inner conflict where I want to mood read, but I'm also a completionist, and there's multiple series that are kind of just lingering. Every time I walk by my bookshelf, these books are staring at me like, you need to read me, and I do want to read them. So in today's TBR, I am gonna have a few carryover books that I have talked about in previous TBRs, but I just wanted to list them because I just like to share whatever I am doing with you guys, and also just to kind of hold myself accountable. So starting off for the first part of this video, I'm just gonna quickly go through some carryovers of books that I do really want to read, but May ended up being a very crazy month for me. I didn't end up vlogging in the month of May at all, other than like a little bit in the beginning, but we were busy every single weekend and during the week as well, so I just didn't have time to vlog, but I really miss it. So vlogging will be back in the month of June. I missed it a lot, and I've just got a lot of books to read. So I'm quickly gonna talk about the books that are carrying over from previous TBRs that are just really important for me to get to, and then we will get into just what I'm feeling for the month of June. Okay, so first carryover, you guys already know, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, second book in the Mistborn series. I absolutely loved book one. I gave it 5 stars. It made me cry. I thought it was beautiful, and I want to continue on with the trilogy. I want to finish this trilogy for sure this year because I absolutely loved it, but it's that thing where like you love it so much you're almost afraid to read it. I don't know, does anyone else get like that? But I'm excited. I really want to see what Vin is up to, so definitely want to pick this book up in June. Number 2, Jade War, no stranger to one of my TBRs before. I absolutely loved Jade City. It was on my best books of 2022, and I think that the series is only going to get better and crazier, so I definitely want to pick this book up as soon as I can because I'm very excited for it. One Dark Window, adult fantasy romance, question mark, not sure, but this is a book that I really need to pick up, and I want to pick up, you guys. I just get distracted. I need to read this month. I actually think I might vlog this. I might put this in like a fantasy romance vlog or something like that, but I really want to read this. It follows a girl in a village where I believe there's kind of some dark power that is infiltrating, and she decides to investigate it and might have to unleash a monster within herself. I don't know, that's the tagline, but that really gripped me, so definitely want to pick this one up. And another book that I absolutely want to prioritize in the month of June is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. This is a male fantasy romance, and I'm very excited for it. I wanted to pick it up in May, but then my brain was like, but what if we just binged a horse girl romance series instead? You'll see that in my May wrap up. So I didn't end up getting to this one. It's also like pretty long, and this is a book that I really want to just like have the time and the space to read. So we're gonna give this another shot in June, but very excited about it. I've heard wonderful things. And another carryover is The Martian by Andy Weir. Andy Weir wrote one of the best books that has ever been written, which is called Project Hail Mary. So I'm reading The Martian next, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Hannah at Hannah's Recent Reads. I'll have her link down below. She is beautiful and fantastic and amazing, and we're both very excited to be reading this book. We both absolutely loved Project Hail Mary, and I've just heard wonderful things about this book as well. All right, I think that's it for carryovers from previous TBRs. Those are all books that I just really want to read that are very important for me to get to. So that's already 5 books on my June TBR that I need to read, not including the like 10 that I'm about to talk about. So let's get into it. So number 1, I have a very highly anticipated release coming out in June, and that is Reckless by Queen Elsie Silver. This is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series, and this book follows Winter and Theo, I believe is our romance hero's name. Winter is a character that we have met kind of throughout the books. She's been sort of on the side, but I think she's a pretty polarizing character because she hasn't always been the kindest character. But I'm very excited about this romance in particular because this romance book has a criminally underrated and underused trope, in my opinion, which is the ice princess and like the golden retriever romance hero who's obsessed with her. I'm so excited for this, okay? As I said, like this trope is so underused. I wish that more romance authors were writing this because I love this kind of like not super friendly, I don't know why I like that, but just like this not super friendly, has a lot of, you know, internal anger and things like that, and just is a little bit of a cold person. And then she finds the right person and they kind of melt away some of those walls and things like that that they have built up, and just this total like opposites attract. I I eat it up. I eat it up, and I really want to see more of it. So when I saw that Winter was going to be the star of this next installment of the Chestnut Spring series, I was very excited. And Theo, we have met him a little bit, I believe mostly in book 1, and he's a goofball. So I'm excited. While this book does have one of my, you know, most favorite prized tropes, it also has a trope that I'm not like super excited for, but I am very open-minded and willing to see how Elsie Silver writes it, and that is the pregnancy trope. I actually believe the premise of this book is these two characters, they're very opposites, they argue a lot. One thing leads to another though, and they end up having a one-night stand where they end up pregnant. So the two of them have to navigate pregnancy and parenthood and some type of romantic relationship as they, you know, kind of embark on this new journey in life together. I think it'll be interesting. I'm just not like the biggest fan of the pregnancy trope. I don't hate it by any means, but I just don't really read about it very often. It's just not something that I gravitate towards. But I love the way that Elsie Silver writes romance, and I just love the Chestnut Springs series as a whole. I love these characters. I love the setting. Nobody is more surprised than I that I've connected with this like horse girl ranch romance, but I love it. Like, oh my god, I would just die for the series. So I trust Elsie Silver. I feel like this is going to be a really good one, and I'm very excited to read it. Another romance that I want to read in the month of June is Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. Kind of a similar main character. Astrid Parker, we met her in the first book in this series, which is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which was great. I gave it 4 stars. Astrid Parker is Delilah Green's stepsister, and she's also a bit of an ice princess, a little bit of a planner, very specific, and she ends up, I believe, like renovating a home alongside Jordan Everwood, who is just her opposite in every way. But I think this is going to be another case where our love interest ends up kind of breaking down those walls of our main character. This is a sapphic romance, and I'm very, very excited to read this one. I really like Ashley Herring Blake's writing style, and the first book just gave me like the coziest small town vibes, so I'm excited to read about more of that in this book. All right, another book that I'm very excited to read in the month of June, and I have very, very high hopes for. I have had people in my real life and then also people here on BookTube telling me, hey, you should pick this book up, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So this book is, to my understanding, somewhat like The Social Network, but video games, I think I want to say. I believe that 2 friends end up creating this very popular video game, and then we followed their lives over like a span of 3 decades. So I like that. I like that, you know, long span of time where we get to see these characters change and grow and like the drama that they go through. And I've just heard wonderful, wonderful things about this. I've heard that it's a very impactful story, and I think it sounds really cool. It's definitely different from a lot that I pick up, but I'm excited. I've heard wonderful things, and I hope I love it. All right, so now I want to talk about all of the fantasy romances that I'm going to be reading this month. So number 1 is a book that, once again, very, very excited for it, is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This book I've heard so many things about. I am very curious to see what I think. I know that there are dragons, which gets me very excited, and I believe that our main character, Elwyn, she's a princess, and I believe when she's born, she is bonded to like 3 dragons, and then they get taken. I believe once she comes of age, she ends up teaming up with an unlikely enemy ally, and she and this commander, I think, are gonna have a little bit of like an enemies to lovers dynamic, but they, along with 3 other people, kind of form this like found family situation and go on this quest to, you know, get their vengeance. I think it sounds really great. I've seen a lot of like reels and TikToks giving the like aesthetic and vibes for this book, and it sounds really great. It sounds right up my alley. So very, very excited for this one. The next book that I want to read in the month of June is Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wisecup. This book has been on my like want to read on Goodreads for such a long time. I so constantly am like almost putting this on my TBR, but then for one reason or another, I'm not. But this is a book that I really want to read. This is also a book that I have had quite a few of you reach out to me and say, hey, you should read this, or have you read this? And I'm very excited for it. So this book follows Alora. Alora is a 34-year-old single mother, and her daughter ends up getting kidnapped. And this is in like a fantastical world, and in order for her to go and get her daughter back, Alora has to team up with, I believe, someone she has a little bit of history with, and she really doesn't want anything to do with him, doesn't want anything to do with like the kingdom and the powers that be, but the 2 of them have to go on a quest to go and get her daughter. I know that there's also like some gods magic and things like that, and I'm just very, very excited for it. That's kind of all I know, but that's sort of all I want to know. I just have very, very high hopes that this is going to be a new favorite. I also really, really love that we have a little bit of like an older female main character, because I feel like so often in fantasy romance, our main characters are like 19-year-old girlies, which is totally fine, but I think it's for refreshing to see a little bit of a more grown-up character, and also the fact that she's a mother. I think that that's great. So I'm very excited to pick this one up, and I hope that I love it. The next book on my June TBR is The Witch Collector by Charissa Weeks, another book that I have seriously thought about reading so much. It has been on my TBR for a long time, and I've heard really fantastic things. This book follows Raina, and 24 years ago, the Witch Collector ended up stealing Raina's sister. So she has kind of always planned this vengeance on him, and to also kill the Frost King, who I believe is kind of like in charge of all of this. So I'm kind of liking we have this almost like wintry setting, it sounds like. We have like a Frost King, and the cover looks very Frost, kind of winter court-esque, so I'm excited about that. But I believe that Raina ends up having to team up with the Witch Collector in order to kind of enact her plan. So probably a bit of pretending to get along, allies, but truly enemies, but then falling for one another. So another book that I'm very, very excited for. I really, really hope that I love this one. I believe that there are 3 books out, or there's at least 2, and there's going to be a 3rd one coming out soon. So very excited for this one and hope that it is a hit. And then the last book on my June TBR is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 2nd book in the Throne of Glass series. I am working my way through my Throne of Glass reread, and I'm having a great time. It's very, very nice to be back in this world, back with these characters, and just discovering a lot more on this reread. I feel like each time I read it, I just recognize so many more things, so much more foreshadowing, Easter eggs. It's been a really, really great time. I am actually vlogging my entire reread of this series. So I've started the vlog this month. It will probably be coming out in like September, who can say? I don't know, but it's definitely gonna take me a few months, but it's gonna be like a full spoilery Throne of Glass reread reading vlog, and I'm really excited. I am annotating this book and tabbing in this book and just discovering so many things and having a really, really great time, just like talking very openly about the series and everything I think and all of my thoughts. Literally just every waking thought that comes into my head, I am vlogging. So it's gonna be a great time, and I'm very, very excited to share that with you all. It's a little bit of a passion project, but I'm excited to post it in the fall sometime. So I will definitely continue on with that vlog and with this series with Crown of Midnight in June. All right, everyone. So that is my TBR for the month of June. I've got a lot to do, but there's also, I mean, gosh, there's so many other books that I want to read this month as well. I am doing a 24-hour readathon this month, and all of those books are pretty long, so I am definitely going to have to find some other books to read for that, but I'm just excited. I think it's gonna be a good month, and I am gonna try to be a completionist and get this done, but if mood reading takes over, you know, we'll give her the reins. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, what are you reading in the month of June? And I would also love to hear any videos that you guys would like to see from me. Are there any specific vlogs that you're interested in seeing from these books? Let me know down in the comments. If you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and leave like the clock emoji, because I feel like I'm just running out of time. I feel like the year is almost over and I have so many more books that I need to read. So I just feel like I'm racing against the clock here. Please make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Goodreads. Both are always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are all having a fantastic day. I love you all so, so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.